If this is the first time you are visiting our channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button.
From the Brazilian Amazon to Japan, floating solar panels are experiencing a boom around the world. Floating solar capacity has grown hugely in the past decade, from 70 megawatt of peak power in 2015 to 1,300 megawatt of peak power in 2020. The market for the technology is expected to grow by 43% a year over the next decade, reaching $24.5 billion by 2031. Floating solar is a rather new renewable energy option, but it has huge potential globally. Covering just 10% of all man-made reservoirs in the world with floating solar would result in an installed capacity of 20 terawatts, 20 times more than the global solar photovoltaic capacity today. The rise of floating solar technology is among the latest trends in the revolutionary expansion of solar PV electricity in recent years. Globally, solar PV capacity has increased almost 12-fold in the past decade, from 72 megawatt in 2011 to 843 megawatt in 2021. The technology now accounts for 3.6% of global electricity generation, up from 0.03% in 2006. At the same time, solar arrays have seen an astonishing price drop, which has made them the world's cheapest source of power. Further expanses in solar energy are expected. In fact, capacity needs to reach 6 times the current amount by 2030 to stay on track with a net zero emission world, according to the International Energy Agency. Global geopolitics are also playing a role in rising reliance on solar power. The European Union has proposed a massive ramping up of renewable energy as it aims to reduce its reliance on Russian oil and gas in the wake of the country's invasion of Ukraine. Alongside this massive growth, researchers continue to look for improvements in solar technology. Most of the solar panels installed so far across the world lie on solid land. But solar technologies which float on water offer a unique advantage: they don't take up land space that may be needed for other uses. Renewable energy production is going to increase all around the world. Solar installations are going to increase much more on water than land. Why? Because land is becoming a very precious asset. In a world looking to rapidly expand solar arrays, this gives floating solar a significant edge, especially for countries facing land scarcity. Conventional solar farms are often criticized for the amount of land they occupy, land which could otherwise be used to grow crops to feed the world's growing population or carbon-absorbing trees. Solar energy requires a huge amount of space, at least 40 to 50 times more than coal plants and 90 to 100 times more than gas, according to research by Leiden University in the Netherlands. Conservationists have also expressed concern that land-based solar and wind farms can have a harmful impact on biodiversity, especially those that are built in species-rich areas. Building sun-absorbing technology on the water is, therefore, a smart way to free up land while also making use of unoccupied lakes and reservoirs. Countries such as Japan and Singapore are investing heavily in floating solar farms because of limited land availability or very expensive land. But currently, less than 1% of the world's solar installations are floating. This is partly due to technical and financial constraints. Saltwater causes corrosion, and positioning panels at an angle is tricky and expensive on a floating platform. Installations on freshwater bodies may also face opposition if they compete with other activities, such as swimming, boating, or angling. Still, floating sun-powered farms also solve another problem plaguing conventional solar energy: inefficiency when solar panels become too hot. In fact, floating solar panels generate extra energy because of the cooling effect of the water they hover over.
If you want us to make this kind of video, make sure you comment below and do not forget to subscribe.
Solar panels generate electricity using rays of light from the sun, not its heat. But when they become too hot, their efficiency falls. This is because heat excites the panel's electrons, which convert energy from the sun into electricity, making the difference between the high energy and rest state smaller, which in turn decreases the voltage and the amount of electricity generated. PV panels typically operate at peak efficiency between 15 centigrade and 35 centigrade, but they can get as hot as 65 centigrade, hindering efficiency. The proximity to water of floating solar helps the panels operate more efficiently and increases their electricity production by up to 15%. But there are also other ways to boost the energy production of solar panels, such as by tilting them to follow the sun's path in the sky, similar to the way young sunflowers follow the sun from east to west during the day. Tracking technology, which is already in use on some land-based solar arrays, helps increase the overall electricity production, as the panels constantly adjust to face the sun. Double-sided panels that track the sun could increase energy production by 35% and reduce the average cost of electricity by 16%, compared to conventional systems. Demand for tracking technology for solar panels is expected to grow by 16% per year between 2022 and 2030 due to this efficiency boost. Linking tracking technology with floating solar could increase electricity generation, but the benefits extend beyond this. Floating solar can help reduce evaporation and prevent the spread of toxic algal blooms, both of which threaten water supply. Floating solar installations cool water temperatures by shielding the surface from the sun. This prevents the growth of toxic blooms of blue-green algae, which thrive in warmer waters and can produce harmful toxins that cause eye and skin irritation as well as vomiting among humans and serious illness or even death in animals. The cooler temperatures also prevent evaporation of water, an especially important advantage in arid areas where water is a precious resource. A 2021 study found that floating solar panels on a reservoir in Jordan, one of the world's most water-scarce countries, reduced evaporation by 42%, while producing 425 megawatt-hour of electricity annually. Floating solar panels decrease the period of stratification, when the sun heats the water surface and creates distinct layers of water with different temperatures. This decrease can cause the bottom layer to become deoxygenated, causing undesirable increases in nutrient concentrations and killing fish. Floating solar panels can also offer useful advantages when combined with other clean technologies. For one thing, there is a huge opportunity to merge floating solar with existing hydropower infrastructure. This would help tackle one of renewable energy's biggest challenges, how to provide a steady power supply during variable weather conditions. Hydro dams are the world's largest renewable energy source. But in some areas of the world, such as Africa, increasing droughts caused by climate change could threaten their future potential, the International Energy Agency has warned. One study found that solar panels floating on just 1% of Africa's hydropower reservoirs could double the continent's hydropower capacity and increase electricity generation from dams by 58%. There is strong potential for an installation such as Proteus to be used in combination with existing hydropower infrastructure to boost electricity generation. It seems clear that the future for floating solar overall is bright, with the global market expected to grow by a fifth in the next 8 years to $180.2 million. Considering the world rapidly needs to ramp up renewable energy to avoid dangerous levels of warming, it needs all the help it can get. Floating, sun-tracking solar could help put the most efficient panels where they are urgently needed.
Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification.